Welcome to my channel. This is The Beautiful Game with Oscar. Football is my therapy. This is a platform where the football community meets for upcoming games, for transfers, tactics, definitely banter, and for some robust engagements. Well, welcome once again to Oscar Football Channel, where we discuss anything to do with football from Africa to the world and from the world to Africa. Well, first leg between Kaizer Chiefs hosting Mamelodi Sundowns ends with a 1-1 draw. Well, on this episode, we'll be discussing 5 things we learned from this game. Arguably, probably the second biggest match in the country after the Soweto derby. But how things panned out yesterday, I doubt if soccer-loving Kaizer Chiefs fans, people who are really honest with understanding football, will be happy with how Kaizer Chiefs played. Kaizer Chiefs almost ran away or had a successful heist yesterday. The only problem they had was managing the last minutes of that game in order to take a 1-0 lead into the second leg in Atteridgeville on the 23rd of September. Well, a draw for Kaizer Chiefs will feel like a loss, and a goal draw that is, for Sundowns will definitely feel like a victory. A lot of Mamelodi Sundowns will be happy with the character of the team. They didn't stop. They continued showing patience. They continued knocking the ball. They continued asking questions. And that's basically the first point of this game. That Kaizer Chiefs almost had a successful heist, but Mamelodi Sundowns continued knocking at the door, hitting the hinges, and the door broke. So it ends with a 1-1 draw going into the second leg of this match. Now, the second point we learned in this game, if you look at basketball, you have a point guard, your Stephen Curry, your Chris Paul. These are players who will make all their teammates to have the ball, to have a feel of the ball. In rugby, you have a scrum half. I think it's a number 9. He is responsible in sharing the ball with everyone in the team. At Mamelodi Sundowns, you'll have a Mshishi, you'll have an Allende, a Neoma Yema. Those are playmakers, players who will ensure that they distribute the ball, share the ball with everyone, creating chances out of nothing. Look at Kaizer Chiefs. You ask yourself, who is a playmaker in that team? Who is a playmaker in the team? Well, if they're relying on Doom Dantsana, had a poor first half, hence they had to substitute him. And you ask yourself, what is Molefe Ntseki thinking? You have Mdu Shabalala on the bench who can do the business, but it seems as if he's not trusted, or the coach is just relying on his tactics of just defending. Defend. Well, that was the second point of this episode. And the third point, this game for Sundowns was won from the bench, and for Molefe Ntseki, it was lost from the bench. Let's look at the subs Molefe Ntseki made. He brought in the new striker, Gonzalez, bringing the new striker, big man up front who doesn't have pace, and you expect him to do something. The only way he's going to score is if you have a playmaker, which they don't have, and if you're going to be whipping those crosses into the box. Probably had one chance, a ball which was whipped in by a Potana or Dupree, can't really remember. He didn't have a lot of chances. The other one was an offside. So, and then he brought in George Matlo. I don't know the relationship between Matlou's family and Tseki's family, it seems as if they've got some form of relationship outside the football team, because Mutlou offers Kaizer Chiefs nothing, absolutely nothing. He then piles up the defense because he's looking at the 1-0 lead. He's thinking, let's just defend and hope that the Sundowns will not score. He brings in a Frosler, he packs up the defense, and there is literally no one, if they win the ball at the back, literally no one to run and actually support the new striker. He could have at least brought in Saile. Modi was tired. He was absolutely tired. And what Chiefs were doing in this game was just literally defending. If you look at the stats, I know stats don't win you games, but if you look at the stats, a big team like Kaizer Chiefs, probably the biggest team in this country, 70,000 fans at Soccer City, and this is how they played. I don't know, man. I don't know if Kaizer Chiefs fans really approve of this guy, because it's a responsibility of the coach who determines how a team will play. If things go on the way they are going on with Midfield, how he's playing, I don't think the guy is going to last until December. Well, a lot of things will be decided on the second leg. If Mamelodi Sundowns manages to win the second leg, it will then mean that the Makosi faithful will probably show their anger. Because how these guys are playing, no ways, guys, no ways. Any neutral, any football lover, anyone who's honest about football and analysis, they can just tell that there is no football, there is no coaching at Kaizer Chiefs. Big team relying on breaks, big team relying on counter-attacks. Well, the family, they are watching. We don't know what they're thinking. Now, the fourth point on this episode, Ekuliso Mudau has been out injured for some time. He comes back, he starts the game, and he gives a solid 90 minutes. In fact, even how the goal came, talking about the subs of the coaches, Mukwena won this game from the bench. He brought in Mashiho, he brought in Mandieta, he brought in Mabena, he brought in Obas. We literally were playing with like two defenders at the back with Obas and Mvala at some point, with Mukwena being the only one shielding them, and everyone, we just committed a lot of numbers up front. Kaizer Chiefs literally were playing half ground. Hence, you could find a Mudau compared to the first half. He was playing closer to the box because we had committed so many numbers in the box. Marcelo gives the ball to Mashiko. Mashiko gives it back to Junior Mandieta, who whips in a cracking cross. And Mudau was the one who was in the box. It is clear that we are really struggling up front without a proper poacher, a proper number 9 in Shaluli. Hopefully the guy will be fit in the second leg, because he'll be the decider. He'll be the decider in this thing. And but Mudau, for the fourth point, had a cracker game. I mean, for someone who's been out for so long, you come back and you give that solid 90 minutes. Big up to the medical team at Clock Up. Clearly, they are doing a great job with the players that are injured. Clearly, there was no panic in pushing the players to come back earlier than expected, but he was fit, like someone who's been playing consistently. And the last point, which is the fifth point on the 5 things we learned on this game between Kaizer Chiefs and Mamelodi Sundowns. My man of the match, personally, I think it was Teboho Mukwena. Again, I ask myself this question: who chooses man of the matches? Are the analysts watching the same games as we are watching? First half, Kaizer Chiefs did absolutely nothing. They didn't play. When they had the ball, they would just kicked it out. Their goal came against the run of play. Kaizer Chiefs were not in the game whatsoever. As much as they had a better second half than the first half, but they didn't play whatsoever. But Tebogo Mokoena, that's a real hustler. That's a real hustler. He will fight for any ball. I mean, there was a point when he chased a Pule Modi. He won the ball. Modi was so tired that he had to hold the guy, and Mokoena had a free kick. That's the character, that's the mentality you see with all Mamelodi Sundowns players. They call him 3310. They call him the Chinese man, the Chilean, Cellular. Marcelo Allende is just a wonder to watch. He's brilliant. Clearly, there was an instruction that a Mart and a Castillo should not let Allende breathe. So many fouls yesterday. I don't know if the ref didn't have a great game whatsoever. Obviously, it was going to be an emotional game. It's two big clubs. They playing for pride, and probably a 1-1 scoreline is a fair reflection, especially for the ones who scored and they hoped that they will win the game. So yeah, sums it up for this episode. Please do like, share, subscribe to this content. Do share with your friends, family, your WhatsApp groups, Twitter, and really grateful for those who are coming back and watching the content. And thank you so much, folks, and God bless.